The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. The skies over the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico were clear. Dr. Samantha Miller sat at her desk, going through data from the previous night. She had been working there for 7 years. Today seemed like any other day until it wasn't. Samantha noticed something odd in the readings. At first, she thought it was a mistake. The signals showed a pattern that seemed too regular, too precise. She checked her equipment twice. Everything was working correctly. She called her colleague, Dr. Eric Brown. "Eric, can you come look at this? I'm seeing something strange in Sector 4. Eric walked over, coffee mug in hand. He looked at the screen and his eyes widened. He put his mug down slowly. "Those aren't random signals," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "Run it through the pattern recognition software." Samantha did as he suggested. The computer confirmed what they already suspected. The signals followed a mathematical sequence, prime numbers to be exact. "We need to call Director Phillips," Eric said. Within hours, the quiet observatory became a hub of activity. Military vehicles arrived. Men and women in suits came and went. Director Phillips held an emergency meeting with all senior staff. "What we're about to discuss doesn't leave this room," the director said. "The signal Dr. Miller discovered is artificial. It's not from Earth. We've confirmed with 3 other observatories around the world." The room fell silent. Samantha felt her heart race. First contact. The moment scientists had wondered about for centuries was happening now during her shift. "The government is sending specialists," the director continued. "Until then, we keep working. We need to understand what this message says." General Frank White arrived the next day with a team of 20 people. Linguists, code breakers, communication experts, and military personnel. They set up equipment in the main conference room and began their work. "The signal repeats every 6 minutes and 12 seconds, Samantha explained to General White. "It contains the first 15 prime numbers, then switches to what we believe is some kind of language primer. Like they're teaching us how to understand them," the general said, nodding. "Exactly. They're starting with math because it's universal, then building up to more complex communication." For the next 5 days, they worked non-stop. The world's governments kept the discovery secret while teams around the globe tried to make sense of the message. Samantha slept on a cot in her office, working 18-hour days. The breakthrough came on day 6. Dr. Patricia Lee, a linguist from Stanford, identified patterns that matched with basic communication protocols. "It's like when we teach children to read," she explained during a briefing. "They're starting with simple concepts and building up. By the end of week 2, they had translated enough to understand the basics. The message was from something called the Tauran Imperium. It wasn't friendly." Samantha was present when the full translation was read to the President and Joint Chiefs of Staff via secure video link. "Attention, inhabitants of Sol 3. This is High Commander Zelvax of the Tauran Imperium. Your world has been designated for integration into our domain. Prepare for preliminary assessment. Resistance is inadvisable." The message included coordinates for the arrival of an assessment fleet just beyond Mars in exactly 1 Earth month. "What are our options?" the President asked after a long silence. "Militarily, we can't match a civilization capable of interstellar travel," General White admitted. "We don't even know what kind of weapons they might have." "Then we negotiate," the President decided. "We form a diplomatic team and prepare to meet them when they arrive." The next weeks were a blur of activity. Governments around the world were informed. The United Nations held emergency sessions. Military forces were put on high alert, though everyone understood the futility of resistance if the aliens were hostile. Samantha found herself included in the diplomatic team, along with Eric. They were chosen for their understanding of the alien communication patterns. The team included diplomats, scientists, and military representatives from 12 countries. They trained daily, preparing for every possible scenario. Experts in psychology and anthropology tried to guess how an alien species might think. What would they value? What could humans offer that might interest them? "We need to show them we're worth more alive than dead," said Ambassador Ryan Williams, who would lead the diplomatic mission. We need to find something that makes us valuable to them. As the days passed, humanity waited. Religious leaders offered prayers. Scientists worked frantically to understand the limited data from the alien message. Regular people, still unaware of what was happening, continued their daily lives. 3 days before the aliens were due to arrive, the president addressed the world. The speech was simple and direct. Yes, humanity had made contact with an alien civilization. Yes, they were coming to Earth. No, we didn't know their true intentions. The world needed to stay calm and united. The reaction was predictable. Fear, disbelief, religious fervor, and in some places panic. But overall, people showed remarkable resilience. Humans had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer. On the final day before the expected arrival, Samantha stood on the roof of the observatory looking at the stars. The same stars she had studied her whole life now seemed different, knowing what was out there. Eric joined her, offering a cup of coffee. "Scared?" he asked. "Terrified," she admitted. "But also, excited? Is that wrong?" He shook his head. "It's why we got into this field, isn't it? To discover the unknown. I just hope we live to study it properly," she said. "The team is as ready as we can be," Eric assured her. "The shuttles are prepped. The translation software is loaded. If they want to talk, we can talk." And if they don't want to talk, he didn't answer. They both knew there was nothing humans could do if the aliens decided to attack. The next morning, telescopes around the world confirmed the arrival. 7 massive ships had appeared near Mars, exactly where the message had indicated. They were, unlike anything humans had designed, curved structures with no visible propulsion systems, each the size of a small city. Samantha boarded the lead shuttle with Ambassador Williams, Eric, and 3 others. 4 more shuttles followed, carrying the rest of the diplomatic team. They left Earth's atmosphere and set course for the designated meeting point. As they approached the alien fleet, Samantha saw the true scale of the ships. They dwarfed anything humans had built. The lead alien vessel opened what appeared to be a docking bay, and their shuttle was guided inside by some unseen force. "Remember your training," Ambassador Williams told them as they prepared to exit the shuttle. "We represent all of humanity now." The shuttle door opened. Samantha took a deep breath and stepped forward into humanity's new future, not knowing if it would be their last. The inside of the alien ship was strange. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. The air felt different, thicker somehow, but still breathable. Samantha and the rest of the human team stepped carefully from their shuttle into a large room. 5 tall beings waited for them. The aliens stood about 8 feet tall with blue skin that seemed to shimmer. Each had 4 arms and large eyes that were completely black. They wore what looked like armor made of some unknown metal. Ambassador Williams stepped forward. "We come in peace as representatives of Earth. We wish to establish friendly communication between our worlds." One of the aliens moved closer. It wore more decorative armor than the others. A small device on its chest lit up and a mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. "I am High Commander Zelvax of the Toran Imperium. Your language has been analyzed and programmed for translation. Follow me." The humans exchanged nervous glances, but followed Zelvax through a series of corridors. The ship was enormous. They passed rooms filled with technology unlike anything they had seen before. Some areas had strange plants growing from the walls. Others contained what appeared to be weapons. They were led into a large circular room with a table in the center. The table projected a 3-dimensional map of Earth that rotated slowly. "Sit," commanded Zelvax. The humans took seats on one side of the table. The aliens sat across from them. "Your planet has been monitored for some time," Zelvax began. "Your species has developed primitive space travel capabilities since our last survey 300 years ago. However, your advancement does not meet the threshold for sovereign recognition. You will be integrated into the Imperium." Ambassador Williams leaned forward. "With respect, Commander, what does integration mean exactly? Your resources will be harvested. Your population will be reduced to sustainable levels. Those who remain will serve the Imperium in various capacities. The process is efficient and has been performed on 87 other worlds. Samantha felt cold fear spread through her body. The alien was talking about invasion and enslavement, stated as simply as if discussing the weather. "We wish to propose an alternative," Williams said carefully. "Earth has much to offer as a partner rather than a subject. We have art, culture, scientific knowledge." Zelvax made a sharp clicking sound that the translator didn't convert. "Your scientific knowledge is primitive. Your culture is of no interest. Your resources are valuable. That is all." Eric spoke up unexpectedly. "Commander, many civilizations have protocols for first contact situations. Does the Imperium recognize the right of demonstration?" The aliens conferred among themselves, speaking in clicks, whistles, and tones that humans could never reproduce. Zelvax turned back to them. "You refer to the right of warning demonstration. This is an old custom, but it is still observed. You wish to invoke this right?" "We do," Eric confirmed. "Very well. You have 3 solar rotations to prepare your demonstration. It will not change the outcome, but it is your right." "What exactly is this right?" Williams whispered to Eric. "I read about it in one of the partially translated texts from the initial message." Eric explained quietly. "Many spacefaring civilizations allow worlds they plan to conquer one chance to demonstrate why they shouldn't be attacked. It's like a last statement before sentence is passed." "It will buy us time," Samantha added. Zelvax stood. "You will return to your planet now. In 3 days we will send a shuttle to these coordinates." A map appeared, showing a location in the Nevada desert. 5 representatives may present your demonstration. No weapons will be permitted. The meeting was over. The humans were escorted back to their shuttles. As they prepared to depart, Samantha studied the alien technology around them, trying to memorize every detail. The journey back to Earth was quiet. Each person lost in their own thoughts. When they landed, they were immediately taken to a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains where world leaders had gathered. 3 days, the president said after hearing their report. "We have 3 days to convince them not to destroy us. What can we possibly show them?" "Military options are useless," General White stated. "Their technology is far beyond ours." "We need to find something uniquely human," Samantha suggested. "Something they don't have or understand." For the next 2 days, experts from every field debated possibilities. Scientists suggested mathematical proofs. Military leaders wanted to demonstrate nuclear capabilities, despite the obvious disadvantage. Artists proposed sharing great works of human creativity. "What if it's not about showing them our best?" Eric said during a late-night session. "What if it's about showing them something they can't predict or control?" That sparked an idea. Throughout the night, a small team including Samantha and Eric developed a plan. It was unconventional. Many thought it was doomed to fail, but no one had a better suggestion. On the morning of the 3rd day, 5 humans waited in the Nevada desert. Samantha, Eric, Josh Taylor, who was a young music composer, Olivia Garcia, who played 3 different instruments, and Steve Baker, a former Navy SEAL who also had a doctorate in philosophy. They had constructed a simple wooden platform. No weapons, no technology, nothing that could threaten the aliens. Just 5 humans and some musical instruments. The alien shuttle arrived precisely on time. Zelvax emerged with 3 other Taurans. They approached the platform, their movements smooth and efficient. "This is your demonstration?" Zelvax's translated voice contained what sounded like disappointment. "Yes," Samantha replied. "We wish to share something humans call music." "Music?" The alien seemed puzzled. "It's how we express emotion through sound," Josh explained. "Different patterns of sound create different feelings," the aliens conferred briefly. "Proceed with your demonstration," Zelvax ordered. Josh nodded to Olivia, who lifted a violin to her shoulder. She began to play, a single note at first, then a simple melody. Eric joined in with a clarinet, the notes weaving around the violin. The Aliens showed no reaction. Then Steve and Samantha began to sing, their voices blending in harmony with the instruments. The music grew more complex, layers of sound building upon each other. Something strange happened. The aliens' blue skin began to pulse, changing colors slightly. Zelvax stepped back, raising all four arms as if to shield himself. "Stop this immediately," he commanded. But the humans continued. Josh activated a small device that added recorded music. A full orchestra, then drums, then electric guitars. The combinations of sounds filled the desert air. The aliens were visibly disturbed now. Their skin flashed with colors, and they seemed to be having trouble maintaining their balance. "How is this possible?" Zelvax demanded when the music finally stopped. "Your species cannot have developed harmonic resonance mapping. It is classified technology in all sectors of the Imperium." "We don't know what that is," Samantha said truthfully. "This is just music. Humans have created it for thousands of years." "For what purpose?" another Tauran asked. "For enjoyment. For expression." "To share feelings," Eric explained. "Feelings?" The word seemed to confuse them. "Yes, emotions." "Do your people not have music?" Josh asked. Instead of answering, Zelvax turned and hurried back to the shuttle, the other aliens following. Quickly. "We will contact you again," was all he said before they departed. The humans looked at each other in confusion and hope. Something about their music had affected the aliens deeply. They didn't understand why, but it seemed they had found the one thing that might save Earth, something uniquely human that the mighty Tauran Imperium had never encountered before. 3 days passed with no word from the aliens. The world waited anxiously. Military forces remained on high alert. Scientists studied the recordings of the music demonstration, trying to understand why it had affected the Taurans so strongly. Samantha barely slept. She spent most of her time at the command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. When she did sleep, she dreamed of the aliens' strange reaction to their music. "What if they're angry?" she asked Eric over breakfast on the 4th day. "What if we accidentally hurt them somehow?" "Then we'd probably already be dead," Eric said simply. "I think we confused them. They didn't expect us to have something they couldn't understand." Around noon, radar stations around the world detected movement. A single Tauran shuttle was descending toward the same spot in the Nevada desert. The 5 humans who had performed the demonstration were quickly flown there. This time, Zelvax brought different Taurans with him. These wore simpler clothing with strange devices attached to their heads and chests. "These are our scientific researchers," Zelvax explained when they approached. "They wish to study your music." "Of course," Samantha replied. "We'd be happy to share more with you." One of the alien scientists stepped forward. "I am lead researcher Kellax. We have analyzed your sound patterns and found properties we cannot explain. We wish to understand how your species creates these effects without quantum technology." Josh looked confused. "Quantum technology? We just use instruments and our voices. There's nothing high-tech about it." Kellax's large black eyes blinked slowly. "Please demonstrate again. We have protective measures in place now." The humans looked at each other, then nodded. Once again, they began to play and sing. This time, the aliens didn't react physically, but their devices flashed with lights and displayed symbols none of the humans could read. When the music ended, the Tauran scientists huddled together, discussing something in their clicking language. "Impossible," Kellax finally said, turning back to the humans. "Your simple sound waves are creating quantum resonance patterns that should require advanced technology to produce. Yet you use only these primitive objects and your vocal cords." Samantha tried to understand. "Are you saying our music somehow affects things at a quantum level?" "Yes. The patterns you create can interfere with our neural networks and communication systems. Some of your songs could potentially disable our ship's navigation." The humans exchanged surprised glances. Their music was a weapon, and they hadn't even known it. "Was this a deliberate threat?" Zelvax asked, stepping forward. "No," Eric said quickly. "As we told you, music is something humans create for enjoyment and expression. We had no idea could affect your technology or biology. You truly do not understand what you can do? Kelak seemed genuinely puzzled. We understand music theory, Josh explained. We know which notes sound good together and how rhythm works, but we don't know anything about quantum effects. The Taurans conferred again, this time for longer. Finally, Zelvax approached them. We must reconsider our assessment of your species, he announced. Your natural abilities present both opportunity and danger to the Imperium. We will return to our fleet to consult with High Command. What about your plans to integrate Earth? Samantha asked. That decision is now under review. Remain available for further communication. With that, the aliens returned to their shuttle and departed. Back at the command center, the human leaders debated what this meant. Was Earth safe? Had they accidentally discovered a defense against the aliens? We need to understand exactly what our music is doing to them, the president insisted. Scientists began intensive research. They studied different types of music from around the world, testing the quantum properties of sound waves. Musicians from every culture were consulted. A week passed. Then the Taurans made contact again. This time they requested a formal meeting with Earth's leaders at a neutral location, a space station to be constructed in orbit between Earth and the Moon. With help from Tauran technology, the station was built in just 3 days. It was a simple structure with a central meeting chamber and separate areas for both species. The Earth delegation included the president, key military leaders, scientists, and the original 5 who had demonstrated the music. The Taurans brought their own leaders, not just Zelvax but others who had traveled from distant parts of their empire. In the meeting chamber, both sides sat facing each other across a large table. The Tauran leader was named Supreme Overseer Vorax, taller than the others with skin that shimmered with more colors. We have studied your species more carefully, Vorax began. What we have discovered is unprecedented in our 12,000 years of expansion. You have naturally evolved abilities that other species have only developed through thousands of years of technological advancement. You mean our music? The president asked. Not just your music, Kelax explained. All your arts, your visual creations, your poems, your stories, they all contain patterns that interact with quantum fields in ways our scientists are still trying to understand. But how is that possible? Samantha wondered aloud. We believe it is because your species evolved with a high capacity for emotion, Vorax said. Most intelligent species suppress emotion to develop logical thinking. Humans seem to have developed both simultaneously. And this makes our art powerful? Eric asked. Yes. Your emotional patterns, expressed through your arts, create effects in quantum reality that most species can only achieve with advanced technology. The meeting continued for hours. The Taurans explained that human creativity represented both opportunity and threat. Some of Earth's music could disrupt their technology. Some human art forms could affect their neural patterns in ways they couldn't control. We wish to propose a new relationship, Vorax finally said. Not integration, but alliance. Your world would remain sovereign. We would exchange knowledge and resources as equals. The president looked surprised. This is very different from your original intention. We did not understand what your species is capable of, Zelvax admitted. It would be unwise to make an enemy of a race that can disable our ships simply by singing. The humans tried not to show their relief. Their art, something so basic to human nature that they took it for granted, had saved them from conquest. Of course, there would need to be safeguards, Vorax continued. Some forms of your expression would be too dangerous to share freely throughout the Imperium. We would establish protocols. And what would Earth gain from this alliance? The president asked. Technology, knowledge, protection from other spacefaring species less willing to negotiate, Vorax replied. Access to resources from thousands of worlds. As the talks continued, Samantha looked out the window of the space station at Earth. Below, the blue planet seemed so small and vulnerable. Yet it had produced something the mighty Tauran Imperium both feared and respected, the human capacity to create beauty. It seemed that art, not weapons, would be humanity's greatest contribution to the galaxy. The negotiations between Earth and the Tauran Imperium lasted for 2 weeks. Each day brought new understandings and challenges. Samantha, Eric, and the other humans who had demonstrated the music were key participants in the talks. "We need to understand exactly how your arts affect quantum fields," Kellax explained during one session. The Tauran scientist had become the main researcher studying human creativity. "Can you show us different types of music?" Earth sent up musicians from around the world to the space station: classical orchestras, rock bands, jazz ensembles, traditional drummers from Africa, throat singers from Mongolia, and many others performed for the aliens. Each performance was carefully measured by Tauran devices. "Your different music styles create different quantum effects," Kellax noted with fascination. "Some are more disruptive than others." They discovered that certain types of music could temporarily disable Tauran communication systems. Other types caused their navigation equipment to give false readings. And some music created pleasant sensations in the Tauran neural system, something like enjoyment, though they didn't have a word for it. "We've been developing this technology deliberately for thousands of years," Zelvax admitted to Samantha. "Your species does it naturally without even understanding the power you wield." The Taurans were equally interested in other human arts. They studied paintings, sculptures, dance, poetry, and stories. All showed quantum effects of varying degrees. "Seems that when humans create with emotion, you unintentionally manipulate quantum reality," Kellax explained. "No other species we've encountered does this naturally." As the discussions continued, details of a treaty began to take shape. Earth would remain independent. The Taurans would provide technology and knowledge, especially in space travel and medicine. In return, humans would share their arts under controlled conditions, but not everyone was happy with the arrangement. Some human leaders worried about becoming dependent on alien technology. Some Tauran officials feared that human creativity might spread through their empire, causing disruption. "Can we trust them?" General White asked during a private meeting with the president and other key humans. "This could be a trick to lower our defenses. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already," Eric pointed out. "Their ships have weapons we can't even understand." "Besides," Samantha added, "they genuinely seem afraid of what our music can do. That fear is our best protection." On the Tauran side, similar debates were happening. Samantha learned about this from Kellax, who had begun to develop something like a friendship with her. "Some of our military leaders want to quarantine your planet," the alien scientist told her. "They say your abilities are too unpredictable." "And what do you think?" Samantha asked. Kellax's skin shimmered with subtle colors, a sign of deep thought among Taurans. "I think your species offers something we have lost in our pursuit of logical advancement. There is value in your emotional approach to existence." As the second week of negotiations ended, both sides were close to agreement. The final treaty would establish Earth as a protected ally of the Tauran Imperium. Humans would gain access to space travel technology and medical advancements that would eliminate most diseases. The Taurans would receive carefully controlled exposure to human arts and the quantum effects they created. On the day the treaty was to be signed, something unexpected happened. A new Tauran ship arrived at the space station. It was smaller than the others but decorated with symbols of authority. From it emerged 3 Taurans dressed in elaborate garments that seemed to indicate high rank. "The Council of Elders," Zelvax explained to the humans, his voice showing rare emotion. "They rarely leave the homeworld. Their presence honors your species greatly." The elders requested a private demonstration of human music. Samantha, Eric, Josh, Olivia, and Steve, the original 5, were asked to perform. They chose a piece that combined elements from various Earth cultures, Josh's violin playing a melody inspired by Bach, Olivia adding rhythms from West African drums, Eric's clarinet bringing in elements of jazz, and Samantha and Steve singing harmonies that drew from both Western and Eastern traditions. As they performed, the elders' skin changed colors in complex patterns. When the music ended, the oldest elder approached them slowly. "In all my 400 years, I have never experienced anything like this," the elder said through the translator. Your music creates patterns in quantum reality that match ancient descriptions in our earliest texts, what we call the harmonies of creation. The humans looked at each other in confusion. Our oldest religious texts, the elder explained, speak of sounds that shaped reality at the beginning of time. Most of our scientists consider these stories to be myths, yet your primitive species creates these very patterns without technology. This revelation changed the nature of the treaty. The elders insisted on adding spiritual and cultural exchange to the agreement. They believed humans might help Taurans reconnect with aspects of their ancient heritage that had been lost during their technological advancement. Your species has much to teach us, the elder told Samantha, perhaps as much as we have to teach you. The final treaty was signed the year next day. It established not just technological and scientific exchange, but cultural and artistic collaboration between the two species. Earth would remain sovereign, protected by the Tauran Imperium from any other hostile forces in the galaxy. As a symbolic gesture, the humans gifted the Taurans with a crystal containing recordings of music from around the world. The Taurans presented Earth with a star map showing all known habitable worlds in the galaxy. This is just the beginning, the president said during the signing ceremony. Today, humanity takes its first real step into the galactic community. Samantha watched as human and alien leaders shook hands, awkwardly, given the Taurans 4 arms. Just weeks ago, these aliens had planned to conquer Earth. Now they were allies, drawn together by the unexpected power of human creativity. That evening, as the space station orbited Earth, Samantha stood at a viewing window looking down at the blue planet. Eric joined her, handing her a cup of coffee. "Did you ever imagine this?" he asked. "That our music would save the world?" Samantha shook her head. "Never. All those years studying space, looking for alien life, and it turns out they were studying us too." She sipped her coffee. "And what saved us wasn't our technology or weapons. It was our ability to create beauty. The most human thing about us." Eric agreed. As they watched Earth turn below them somewhere on the station, a Tauran was listening to Mozart for the first time, its alien mind experiencing something new, the emotional power of human art reaching across the stars. 6 months passed since the treaty signing. Earth changed in ways no one could have imagined. Tauran technology transformed human life. New medicines cured diseases that had plagued humanity for centuries. Clean energy systems replaced fossil fuels. Food production increased, ending hunger in many regions. But the biggest changes were in space. With Tauran help, humans built their first real space colony on the Moon in just 3 months. Mars was next, with habitation domes already under construction. Ships that could travel to nearby stars were being designed in factories that floated in Earth orbit. Samantha's life had changed too. She now worked as the lead human scientist at the Cultural Exchange Center, a massive facility built near the original landing site in Nevada. Her job was to study how human arts affected Tauran biology and technology. "The effects are strongest with music that combines multiple elements," she explained to a group of visiting officials, "especially when the performers put strong emotion into it." Eric had become Earth's ambassador to the Tauran fleet. He spent most of his time on their main ship, learning their language and customs. Josh, Olivia, and Steve traveled around the world, finding new musicians and artists whose work might have useful applications. Not everything was perfect. Some humans resisted the changes, fearing alien influence. Small protest groups formed, demanding that Earth limit Tauran presence, and some Taurans still viewed humans as primitive, despite the treaty. One morning, Samantha received an urgent message from Eric. "They're coming," was all it said. Hours later, a new fleet of ships appeared in Earth orbit. These weren't Tauran vessels. They were different in design, sharper with red and black markings. "The Zarelians," Zelvax explained when he arrived, at the Cultural Exchange Center. "Another empire from a distant sector. They've been rivals of the Imperium for thousands of years." "Are they dangerous?" Samantha asked. "Very. They've likely come because they heard about our treaty. They'll want to see the species with natural quantum abilities for themselves." The Zarelian ambassador demanded a meeting on Earth. "World leaders? gathered in New York at the United Nations. The Zarelian looked similar to Toran's but with red skin and only 2 arms. His name was Ambassador Drax. "We are concerned about this alliance," Drax stated bluntly. "A species with uncontrolled quantum manipulation abilities is a threat to galactic stability. Our abilities are not a weapon," the president responded. "They're simply part of our culture." Nevertheless, the Zarelian Empire cannot allow the Torans exclusive access to such power. We propose a better arrangement. Join our empire instead. We offer superior technology and greater freedom. Zelvac stepped forward. "This is a violation of treaty boundaries, Drax. Earth is under Imperium protection." The Zarelian smiled coldly. "Protection can be challenged." That night, emergency meetings took place around the world. The Zarelian fleet was larger than the Taran presence near Earth. If conflict broke out, Earth would be caught in the middle. "They want our quantum abilities just like the Tarans did," Samantha said during a strategy session. "But they're more aggressive about it." "We need to demonstrate that we've made our choice," Eric suggested, "and that we can defend that choice." An idea formed. If human music could affect Toran systems, it might affect Zarelian technology too. Samantha proposed a plan. The next day, Earth gave its answer to the Zarelians. "We respectfully decline your offer," the president told Ambassador Drax. "Our alliance with the Toran Imperium stands." "Then you leave us no choice but to demonstrate our superiority," Drax replied. "Perhaps after a small display of Zarelian power, you will reconsider." The Zarelian ships moved into attack positions around Earth. Toran vessels responded, but they were outnumbered. "Now," Samantha whispered into her communication device. All across Earth, a coordinated event began. Musicians of every type started playing simultaneously. Classical orchestras in concert halls, rock bands in stadiums, folk musicians in villages, church choirs, school bands. Anyone who could create music joined in. And it wasn't random. Over the past 6 months, scientists had determined which musical patterns created the strongest quantum effects. Every performer had been given specific pieces to play at the exact same time. In orbit, the Zarelian ships suddenly faltered. Their weapon systems went offline. Communication between their vessels broke down. Navigation systems gave false readings. On the main Zarelian ship, Ambassador Drax stared in shock as his control panels flickered and died. "What is happening?" he demanded. Zelvax, who wore protective devices developed with human help, simply smiled. "Earth is happening." For 10 minutes, the coordinated music continued. Billions of humans created a quantum disruption more powerful than any weapon. The Zarelian fleet drifted helplessly. When the music finally stopped, Drax faced the human and Taran representatives with new respect. "It seems we underestimated your species," he admitted. "Earth doesn't want conflict," the president said firmly. "But as you've seen, we can defend ourselves if necessary." A new round of negotiations began. This time, both the Toran Imperium and the Zarelian Empire sought peaceful relations with Earth. The planet's unique abilities made it too dangerous to attack, but too valuable to ignore. 1 month later, a 3-way treaty was signed. Earth would remain independent, but would share its arts with both alien civilizations under controlled conditions. In return, humans would receive technology and protection from both empires. Samantha stood on the roof of the Cultural Exchange Center, looking at the stars. Eric joined her, fresh from the signing ceremony. "Who would have thought?" he said. 6 months ago we were afraid they'd destroy us. Now 2 galactic empires are competing for our friendship. All because we can sing and paint and tell stories, Samantha laughed. "Not just that," Eric corrected her. "Because we feel emotions while we do it. That's what they don't understand but want to learn." As they talked, more Taran and Zarelian ships arrived in Earth orbit. Not warships this time, but cultural exchange vessels. They carried artists and scientists eager to study humanity's unique abilities. And Earth was changing too. With access to advanced alien technology, humans were preparing to reach for the stars themselves. The first faster-than-light human ship was almost complete. Soon Earth would send its own explorers into the galaxy. "What do you think we'll find out there?" Samantha asked, gazing at the night sky. "More differences, more challenges," Eric replied, "but also more opportunities to share what makes us human." In the Nevada desert below them, a mixed group of human and alien musicians were preparing for a concert. Human violinists stood alongside Tauran sound artists, and even a few Xerelian musicians. Together they were creating something entirely new. Music that combined the traditions of three worlds. The sounds drifted up to where Samantha and Eric stood. Beautiful, complex harmonies that seemed to bridge the vast differences between species. "That's our real gift to the galaxy," Samantha said softly. "Not just our quantum abilities, but our creativity, our willingness to try new things, to blend different ideas together." As they listened to the music of three worlds joining together, Earth continued its journey into a new age. No longer alone in the universe, no longer threatened by galactic empires. Instead, humanity had found its unique place among the stars, not through force or technology, but through the simple, powerful act of creating beauty.